Lewis Hamilton has just dropped a bombshell. So unexpected, so brutally honest, it may have completely flipped the script on Ferrari's spiraling crisis. As the Formula One paddock buzzes with whispers of Fred Vasseur's looming departure, and headlines swirl with the names of potential successors, Christian Horner, Antonello Coletta, Hamilton has stepped into the fray, but not with the usual vague endorsements or polished corporate lines. No, what he said goes straight for the jugular of the turmoil unfolding in Maranello. And that's exactly what makes this moment so explosive. While the media circles like vultures and the pressure mounts with every disappointing result, Hamilton hasn't stayed silent. He's taken a stand, bold, clear, and defiant. And what he's just revealed may not only seal Fred Vasseur's fate, it could shift the entire trajectory of Ferrari's 2025 season. But why now? What does Hamilton know that we don't? And what does this augur for the mounting power struggle within the most iconic team in motorsport? Don't blink. What you are about to hear isn't just another headline. This isn't filler. It's the real drama, brewing behind Ferrari's closed doors, revealed. So subscribe, like, and watch all the way to the end, because what Hamilton has just said could be the most important thing you'll hear all year. Lewis Hamilton is a man who doesn't break under pressure. He has plowed through controversy, carried the burden of global expectation, and emerged from the fire with a calm, cool dominance that few athletes in any sport can equal. But what he's just said about Fred Vasseur, the man now hanging onto his Ferrari leadership by his fingernails, might be one of Hamilton's most daring public utterances yet. For at this point, with Ferrari being torn apart by internal doubt, boardroom politics, and a media storm that will not subside, Hamilton has not only cast a vote of confidence, he's issued something much greater, an ultimatum disguised as loyalty. The murmurs began softly. Then they caught fire. Winless through the first 10 races of 2025, Ferrari, frustrated and fragmented, was reportedly poised to sack Vasseur. Boardroom trust was evaporating. Hamilton and Charles Leclerc had both been publicly livid. Strategy calls were catastrophic. Technical gains stalled. Meanwhile, McLaren launched. Red Bull stumbled, enough to give Ferrari the illusion of best of the rest. But beneath that shiny exterior, upheaval was brewing. That's when the rumors broke. Ferrari had privately courted Christian Horner. When that plan was rebuffed, they looked to Antonello Coletta, a Ferrari endurance racing veteran they trusted. And just when the storm was building to critical levels, Hamilton came forward and slammed on the brakes for all of it. Pressed directly for a response to the Vasseur rumors, Hamilton didn't dodge, didn't weave, and didn't lapse into anodyne, pre-approved PR speak. He said this instead: "Fred's the reason I'm here in this team. I like working with him. I want Fred to be here. I believe he's the man to take us to the top." That wasn't flattery. That was a message. Deliberate, clear, a signal to the Ferrari board, to the fans, and to anyone plotting behind the scenes. Hamilton has put it all, his final, most career-ambitious chapter, on one man's shoulders, Fred Vasseur. The stakes? Legendary. Hamilton's Ferrari jump wasn't a grab-and-go or payday masquerade. It was a long-term pursuit, fueled by trust, faith, and shared cause. If that trust explodes, if Vasseur gets pushed out, everything Hamilton came to build teeters to topple. Ferrari may be hungry for top-level upheaval, yet Hamilton has been very clear. He's not part of that revolution. He's not calling for resets. He wants stability, consistency, and he needs Fred Vasseur to be the architect of tomorrow. And yet, the timing could not be worse, because right now, Ferrari is not just struggling, they're plummeting, still without a win. No podiums whatsoever for Hamilton to date. The SF25 has caught moments of pace here and there, but far more often, it's been showing its frailties. Canada floor damage, setup confusion, tire wear, inconsistent qualifying, and all of this with two of the best drivers in the paddock. The frustration isn't just visible, it's broadcasted through team radios, body language, and headlines. So when Hamilton says it looks a lot worse outside than it probably is on the inside, he's doing more than damage control. He's trying to hold the center while everything around him fractures. It's a form of leadership few drivers take on, especially in public. He's not just defending Vasseur, he's defending the entire team against itself, against doubt, against impatience, against the temptation to start over again. Because let's face it, Ferrari's pattern is well-known impatience resets revolving doors in management. It's a cycle that's defined the post-Schumacher era, and every time a project is scrapped early, it delays the rebuild even more. Hamilton knows that Vasseur knows. That does Ferrari's upper management. The timing of Hamilton's words is not coincidental with rumors swirling and the media turning up the pressure. His voice carries weight. He's telling the world, and more importantly, the men in suits behind the curtain, that this time Ferrari must resist its old instincts, that Vasseur deserves the time to finish what he started, and if they don't listen, the consequences could be seismic, because while Hamilton's declaration was calm, its message was razor-sharp. If Fred goes, Lewis might follow, not immediately but spiritually. The unity, the belief, the trust that all disappears, and in a team already walking a tightrope, that kind of fracture could be fatal. So yes, what Hamilton just revealed about Fred Vasseur is nothing short of insane. Not because of how dramatic it sounded, but because of what it means. It's a driver putting everything on the line. It's a message that says stability over chaos, loyalty over politics, trust over pressure. In an era of F1 where drivers play diplomat more than ever, Hamilton just played kingmaker, and whether Ferrari chooses to listen might determine not just Vasseur's future, but their own. So don't go anywhere, because what's unfolding now isn't just a turning point for Fred Vasseur. It's something far deeper. Political ground under Maranello is shifting, and for once, it's not happening behind closed doors. It's happening live out in the open in front of fans, media, rival teams, and most importantly, two of the most high-profile drivers in the sport. Lewis Hamilton's statement wasn't just supportive, it was strategic. When a seven-time world champion publicly defends a team principle under fire, he's not just showing loyalty, he's drawing a line. He's sending a warning. Hamilton isn't just another driver passing through Ferrari. He's the face of their future. And now, he's effectively said, if Fred goes, everything changes. And that raises terrifying questions for Ferrari's top brass, because if they're seriously considering removing Vasseur, they're not just removing a team boss, they're detonating the foundation of the project they used to attract Hamilton in the first place. They're risking the confidence of a driver who came not just for podiums, but for a legacy-defining chapter, and in doing so, they may trigger a level of instability that no mid-season replacement, be it Coletta or anyone else, can possibly contain. Think about the timing. We're approaching a pivotal point in the season. 2026 is looming with massive regulation changes and a chance to reset the pecking order. Bar cannot afford to enter that era in turmoil. They cannot afford to lose Hamilton's trust, nor Lair's patience, because if either of those two pillars starts to crack, the consequences won't be confined to this season. They'll echo for years. Coletta may bring structure. He may bring results from endurance racing. He doesn't bring the relationship Hamilton already has with Vasseur. He doesn't bring the continuity. This team desperately needs to climb out of its spiral, and right now, continuity is everything. Ferrari has tried. Reshuffles before they've tried, resets, new technical directors, new team principles, new philosophies. But what they've never had in this era is time to actually let something develop. And maybe that's what Hamilton is trying to buy them a moment to breathe, to stabilize, to believe in a vision that doesn't involve panicking after every failed weekend. He knows the car isn't where it needs to be. He knows the strategy calls have been poor. But more importantly, he knows how quickly the cracks in Ferrari's foundation can spread. If pressure is applied from the top down, this story then is no longer just about whether Fred Vasseur keeps his job. It's about whether Ferrari can learn from the past or whether they're doomed to repeat it. And it's about whether Hamilton, who has stood by Vasseur publicly and passionately, is truly being heard within the walls of Maranello, or whether his loyalty, like so many promises at Ferrari, will go unrewarded. So stay with us, because this isn't just a moment of internal drama. It's a reckoning, a fork in the road for the most famous team in motorsport. and the decisions made in the next few weeks could shape not only the final races of 2025, the very DNA of Ferrari heading into the next era of Formula One. Smash that like button. If you're as invested in this drama as we are, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single twist and turn on the notifications, because what comes next could define everything.